Say, man, for those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we gonna get to the other stuff in a minute. But first, see, what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, around here, before we do anything else, we finna vibe. Say, if at any point in our journey together you feel like you engulfed in the darkness, allow me to be your beacon. Say, man, you better smile. And if at any point in this journey you feel like you can't find your smile, I'm trying to be the smile on your face. See, that's who I am. People ask, who are you? When I don't want to tell y'all my name, because that's irrelevant. Who I am is the smile on your face. And when you realize that, that's the first step in realizing that you're ready to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. Yeah. To give a fuck about the darkness. To give a fuck about the darkness. Good Lord. To give a fuck about the darkness. Oh. To give a fuck about the darkness. Oh. What it was, y'all. Y'all should know who it is. If not, like I said, I'm just a smile on your face. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight, man. And look, I hope everybody feeling good. I hope everybody vibing, because it's time to plunge into the depths, because we're going to have to help each other out here, because a lot of the times we're not going to be able to see the darkness within ourselves. So what do? We go looking for it in somebody else. At least these people do. So this right here, pardon me. This is good. This is a little something about those people that have their black moon Lilith in the 7th house of their natal chart. Yeah. And before we actually go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about Lilith. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about the energy that comes along with it, the mythology that comes along with it, and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm going to give y'all a quick... Good Lord. I got to put it down. Pardon me. Pardon me, y'all. I gotta stop smoking that icky. But anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of information on what the 7th house of the astrological chart is actually all about. Then we're gonna bring it to a climax, which, fortunately for you, that's actually what I do best. And it's also my favorite. Mi favorito. Yeah. And so anyway, when we talk about Lilith, this is the oldest story ever told, man. And it comes to us from Judaic or Jewish mythology. And see, Lilith was the first woman ever created. She was created at the same time equally to Adam. And I say all of that with much emphasis. Okay? And so for anybody that thinks that, femininity is the weaker of the two energies, or that female is the weaker of the two genders, you're grossly mistaken. Okay? That's just something to remember here. And so when it comes to Adam and Lilith, with them two, all was good in the hood until it came time to, lay down and consummate their relationship or get nasty. Because it was at that time that Adam was like, lay down, Lilith, so I may lay on top of you. But as I was kind of alluding to before, this ain't Eve and she ain't submissive. And something about that just didn't sit right with her. So she said, nah, motherfucker, you lay down so I may lay on top of you. Mr. Adam wasn't having that. So there was a big argument. It came into a great calamity, and the angel of the Lord had to come down and, sort things out. And in doing so, immediately sided with Adam. And what happened with Lilith, she was immediately feeling dejected, disrespected, so she dipped out. And she dipped out to become many different things in many different mythologies. Some would say that, she's a demon seductress that, takes men to their demise. Some would say that she's a demon that steals babies. Some would say that she's Satan's consort. Some would say that she's the mother of all demons. But I'm telling you now that that's rigmarole. That's hogwash. That was made by some scared little men. Because all Lilith is raw, intense, feminine, independent, rebellious energy. Okay? Is it manipulative and sexy? Yeah. It has to be. It doesn't have brute force to work with. Okay? That's something to remember. And a lot of people can't handle that. They've tried to harness that, tame it, change it, make it as something evil. And when you think about something like this as something as evil and you repress it, then it comes out as something evil. That's something to think about. So when we're talking about, the story now, Adam, he's sick, man. He's lonely, poor little tink. He needs him somebody. So what happens is God puts him into a stupor, takes one of his ribs, and creates Eve, who is of Adam, made for Adam. Is that all women? Is that the representation of all feminine energy? Absolutely not. That's Eve. Is there anything wrong with Eve? No. But that's Eve's energy. You got to choose which manifestation of that energy you want to fuck with. You feel me? And so when we talk about astrology, man, in each person's chart, there's an indicator of dark karma. And this is kind of where Lilith becomes a factor. And like the nodes and the Arabic parts that we're already talking about, this is not an actual celestial body. This one represents a certain point or aberration in the natal chart that really helps point to and understands a lot of certain provocations and temptations and turn-ons and fears and a lot of the trials that might await a person. It can also represent the darker or the shadow side of our personality, as well as the type of, the type of energy that could, put us in great states of trepidation or, things that make us a little uncomfortable, And like I said, it might even turn us on a little bit. This is interesting. And it manifests differently in different people because, as I was saying earlier, if you look at this energy as something that's bad or negative, then it's going to come out as something as bad or negative. But let me tell you something, man. Whether you know it or not, it's that shadow part of you that's got you some of the toughest parts of your life. It's there. You know, I always like to refer to that point on Walking Dead where, they were in a dire situation. The guy had Rick hemmed up about to kill him. They're about to basically rape and then probably eat his son, Carl. And he bit the dude's throat out. That's a necessary evil. Okay, sometimes you got to integrate that shit. I'm not saying you got to go bite people's throats out. I'm saying you got to sometimes find that beast within yourself and harness it to get something for real done about your life. So, never forget that. Also, if you have trouble with your feminine part of yourself, if you think that's something that's weak or something that you can't handle, then this energy right here is going to come out pretty rough for you. It's going to put you through the ringer till you understand that, hey man, this is a part of you. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it ain't about what you do. It's about how you do it. You understand? And, another thing is, there's periods when the black moon Lilith is going to be a lot more strong. And that's in years that are multiples of 9. And I'm not talking about 1909, 1918, 1927, 1936, 1945, 1954, 1963, 1972, 1981. I'm not talking about that. Okay. What I'm talking about is years of 9 since your birth, because that's how long it takes for Lilith to traverse the whole zodiac and make her return. Okay. And it's at those times that, a lot of people might see a lot of fateful events occurring, and that'll begin like 5 months before and it can culminate like 5 months after that. And, that's really going to be considered by some as a major period of reckoning where you might have to really address some of the fucked up parts of yourself and learn how to do some shadow work and integrate the shadow. Or maybe nothing at all will happen. Okay. Maybe your shadow's already integrated. Maybe you understand that just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. So you don't even have to allow any of this energy to fuck with you at all in any way, form, or fashion. And that's a beauty in itself. Understand that? And what you also have to understand is you can't ask me because I'm not here for predictions. Okay. What I'm here is for self-awareness, character development. Okay. That's what I'm about. I'm going to show you where the energy's at, where it comes from, how you got this energy within yourself. And what you do with it is what you do with it. Okay. So when we talk about the 7th house of the astrological chart, the 7th house is commonly referred to as the house of partnerships because, with this house, we see a shift away from self towards another. You understand? And by cooperating with and relating to another, we unite for the purpose of achieving something, which is really what this energy is kind of all about, man. And this is pretty much what happens here because it's in the 7th that, we kind of find our partnerships and we kind of learn that partnerships can take on many forms, whether it just be our marriages, our business partnerships, our legal contracts, negotiations, and, any agreements that we might be making and how shit will go with those to a certain degree will be looked up in the 7th house. It's here that we answer questions like, why do we choose particular relationships that we have? Is it for love or is it for money? Was it for practical reasons or even social considerations? There's a whole bunch of reasons that we might be uniting with another person, but a lot of times it's just to find balance and to fill a void within ourselves. Okay. And look for something that we're not able to see within ourselves, even though it is there. It's there. And in doing that, if we can't find it in the next person, we'll project it onto people. That's what these planets in the 7th house are going to do. You understand that? That's what they're going to 7th, The 7th wants us to know that the quality of our partnerships can really greatly enhance our experience on this plane. And even the tensions within a relationship can also teach us a lot of major lessons. And let me tell you that, any planets here can also speak to the energies that we have to deal with in that area of life, whether that be positive and negative. And, also understand that the energies in the 7th, it's there within you. Whatever planet, whatever place when we're talking about 7th house energy, it's there within you. You just can't see it. And so what do? You look for it in the next person, in your relationships. And then, a lot of times, even when they ain't like that, you're projecting it onto them because that's something that you're trying to seek to find balance when a lot of times you just need to understand that it's within you the whole time. It's within you the whole time. Okay. And this is one of the angular houses, man. The 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th, man. These are cardinal houses. You know, this is ruled by Venus and Libra. Okay? And so when we're talking about putting the black moon Lilith in the 7th house, so, hey, I'm telling you now, man, that this is actually one of the most, if not the most, challenging placements that there are for the black moon, in my opinion. I'm just gonna keep it real, man. And that's just due to all the bullshit ass quarrels and unconscious power struggles that it causes in these folks' relationships and interactions. And, you know, also just really all the confusion as to what the hell is going on in general. Cause the thing is, man, the motherfuckers with this placement, man, they really do want to get close to somebody. I mean, they really do, man. But at the same time, you know, they don't really know how to go about doing such in a healthy way, which usually ends up in, you know, a whole bunch of pain and suffering in the situations they put themselves in. And a big part of the issues is that they themselves tend to be completely oblivious of their own Lilith qualities. And like we were just talking about, what do? They end up projecting them onto the next motherfucker. You know, which, hey, that's hard, man. So then what happens is they end up involved with partners right there who are just, you know, really manipulative and controlling and, you know, in the worst cases, abusive. Real talk. So in sum, I guess what I'm really trying to say is that, you know, 7th house Lilith people are usually very much the type to just seek out and get stuck in these toxic ass relationships, you know, that is, you know, until they face their own shadow and, you know, figure out some way how to just integrate them in a healthy manner, which is always, you know, exponentially much easier said than done. I'm gonna tell you now, man. Real, man. For real, man. Real, man. And, you know, let me also say that the closer that this is to the actual descending point, the stronger, or if you want to say the worse, this is going to be, man. And looking even deeper into it, you know, folks with this placement, they're always going to feel this deep tug to just unite with somebody. So much so that sometimes they feel utterly incomplete when they on their own, which is only muddled up by the fact that, you know, although Lilith here wants to commit, I mean, it wants to commit, you know, they're also deathly afraid of it at the same time. So a lot of the time it leads to situations where it looks like a relationship is headed one way only to simply implode at some point, you know, much to the chagrin of, you know, both parties involved. Okay. Which is crazy. And I could say that maybe it just stems from the fact that their own parents were divorced or in a toxic ass destructive relationship. But, you know, something in their experience when I'm seeing this has left them kind of jaded, you know, or worse. Or worse, man. However, let me say this. Does that mean that they're destined to be alone? No. You know, not necessarily, but not necessarily, but, you know, it's going to take a lot of self work and a lot of maturity if they want to have any healthy functioning relationship. So a lot of folks with this one, they kind of tend to, you know, have their better relationships later on in life after they've, you know, matured a little bit, and they are finding people that have the people that they're fooling with are more mature, because whatever you got going on with inside of you, you're projecting it onto the next person with this. If you're living, you know, a dark, toxic existence with this, you're going to be projecting that onto somebody else, man. And that's what's crazy with this, man. And I've also noticed that these people right here, they're especially afraid of losing their freedom, but at the same time, they just really want to belong to something. They really just want to belong to something. So I've also seen that a lot of them could really have been involved in entanglements where they themselves were the third wheel in some love triangles when they were younger too. So that's interesting, man. So, let me also say that they can sometimes get pretty tyrannical themselves in their relationships where they demand complete loyalty. Even sometimes, you know, they want to maintain a sense of possessiveness well after their relationships have actually ended with this one. Okay, it's a trip too, because people with this one, they rarely ever get over their past loves, y'all. I'm gonna tell you, that's what I know when I see Lilith in that 7th house. For example, even when the relationship doesn't really even work, man, they rather, fuck around on their person and cheat and play games rather than just step up and end this shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? Lilith here can also play out where they end up having partners who are obsessed with them and, stalking them long after breaking up. I've seen that. So, like I said, this one right here, when we talking about Lilith in the 7th, this one's a bitch for real, man. She gets her motherfucking freak on. And, if it ain't the codependent shit going on, let me say that, where they, give up too much of their self for the sake of their partners, I can also say, if it ain't that, it's the blind shit where they just simply don't recognize, when somebody just ain't the one for them. And unfortunately, it typically takes a long cycle of heartbreak before they ever realize that, it's not them. It's you. Yeah. It's not them, it's you. You know what I'm saying? And before they even can realize that it's them that's the problem, they gotta realize that there's a problem in the first place, which is rough, man. Look, y'all. Planets or points in the 7th, they can sometimes tend to be in the shadow period, man. And then with it being, unrecognized, like I said before, it gets projected. So in this case, Lilith in the 7th house, folks, they really tend to unconsciously be attracted to partners who embody those themes of Lilith, who in turn reflect and bring out the worst in them too, which ignites a vicious cycle where the native chooses people who don't have their best intentions at heart. Then they get screwed over, and then they trip out and, get even more confused as to what it is the hell they want in their life. And, they just jump into another relationship with somebody that's even worse than before. So, man, this placement right here can bring a whole bunch of conflict and extra shit until they learn to see past their own ass. For real, man. And then find their power and get self-sufficient. Okay? And that's true, man. And lastly, let me say that with the Lilith in the 7th house, I wouldn't ever advise getting into any business partnerships, because that would probably end horribly. And, I'd also stay out of all legal issues and keep your ass out of a courtroom if you have this placement. And that's just keeping it real, man. But hey, even if it don't play out like that, even if you don't believe a word I just said, that's cool, because just because you built like that, it don't mean you have to build like that, okay? We all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. I want to appreciate everybody, man. I want to let everybody know that I appreciate them, pardon me. I love all y'all, man. Thank you for all the love and support. If you're interested in the astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Okay? Hey, man, y'all better smile, man. If y'all got to this point, you need to be hitting that like button. Anything else would be uncivilized. Okay? Subscribe if you ain't already. Share this motherfucker. I thank everybody, man. Keep it true.